Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching Superman and Lois, Season 2, Episode 13, All Is Lost, which is a great title, very ominous. You know, this episode's going to go great. I love this show, cannot wait for another episode. A reminder that, as always, the unedited versions of these reactions go up on my Patreon a month in advance, and if I'm not mistaken, Season 3 only has 13 episodes. If that is the case, then that means right now, all 13 of them are up on my Patreon unedited, and when Season 4 comes out, I will be watching it live each week as it comes along. So yes, very excited for that, even though I don't expect it anytime soon, given the writer strike and everything, which I wholeheartedly support, and the actor strike, I 100% support. And yes, let's go.
You're not Lois Lane's sister, are you?
That's me, Lois Lane's sister. She left when I was a kid.
Yeah, vulnerable target for you to exploit. Even if she genuinely believes that she's helping, that's all she's doing is locating the
I
vulnerable.
feel like I've taken up all.
I believe you came here today so that I could help you see that.
You are somebody, and you are not incomplete. You are somebody who's just going through life like the rest of us, and you are enough.
You can spend some time with the boys who also missed having you around.
Where are you going?
Track Lucy down.
Your boys really could need you.
She's just doing what she thinks is best for her family.
I know. I just wish what was best for them didn't mean staying away from us.
Wait forever.
I will take a breakfast burrito.
Got it.
She wants to help. It's so hard because they got into the pattern in their old life where she was helping him with this life and death stuff. And now all he wants for her is for her to get to be a kid and to experience life and to not have to worry about the life and death stuff. But the pattern they're in is her helping with him. And so now it's like he's shutting her out when he never used to. Oof. Ooh.
Wow, honey, you shine. In that song.
You know, like Dad's person, she wasn't there.
I can't believe your father took you there.
It was a shitty place to take her. There are other open night places.
I don't.
There are other places she could have had an open mic night. There are other places she could have performed. But again, she should have made a little bit more to reiterate to Sarah that what happened with Sarah was wonderful. And she didn't do anything wrong. And it's not on you. Your dad shouldn't have taken you there.
Full day of chores for us so we could spend some time together.
Yeah, how is that the bright side?
Oh, come on. I used to love helping my
Chores.
dad around the farm. Come on, meet me in the barn in 10 minutes.
Some father bond, son bonding time would be nice.
I drank the tea. I watched those people die in that portal. I almost died.
Yeah,
I'm a part
because
of this. She's right. And she might be able to help.
I find Chrissy annoying. I didn't used to, and it makes me sad.
Just don't.
Incomplete people of the world.
Incomplete people of the world.
There's just one
I love their Eiffel Tower.
Merge both Earths into one.
Well, Christ. I mean, speak to Oliver Queen about that. He did that with many more than just two. Cause some chaos.
Hey, got your fresh coffee.
Put your life in danger.
I know what I'm doing. Why do you keep treating me like a child?
Because you are 15 years old.
It's so hard because at 15 you are still a child. Yeah, you're not a little child like you used to be, but you are still a kid. Brains don't fully finish developing until mid-20s for one thing. But when you're 15, you're starting to become more like an adult and want to be an adult. And then when these kids are going through these life and death situations, they're aware of everything. And of course, they're going to want to do something and not be powerless. With Natalie in particular, he used to include her in this stuff and now he doesn't.
I build things. I don't destroy them.
I know you're angry, but a more reasoned conversation with her would have been better. Why did you make this? What made you feel like you would need to make it? Why didn't you feel like you were doing enough?
Where's my daughter?
Okay, not the best way to address this.
And he is coming here. We will merge and I will finally be whole. Allie merged.
He won't even
She's
be
not
you.
whole. She's become some kind of a parasite. Oh, please, Lois.
Show videos.
She drains. Not about helping people. Allie is the only person who has ever helped me. That is why I wait, however long it takes. And there's
Lucy,
nothing
that
you
is
can say
not
to change
true.
I'm not leaving you, not again.
it. This is off.
Whatever's coming, Luce, we're gonna face it together.
1,000 years too late to do something like this.
Think there's anything I can do to
Maybe talk to Jonathan about Jonathan. He's going through some stuff, you know?
dealing with circumstances the best you can. And it's not too late for either of you to make things right.
Especially you, sweetie.
Really believe that?
About you, 1000%.
And I want to protect you from everything. But I have to learn to let you make your own mistakes, just like everyone else. And that's really hard.
Honesty is what gets you
But I
through
promise
to
you.
babies. Can you have a hug, please?
I have no future.
That's not true.
It's not true.
gonna
It
be
might
fine.
seem like it.
We're gonna
You're gonna
figure something
find
out
your
for you
way
and your
through.
brother. Speaking of which, I should probably go check on him.
I think Jonathan needs a hug.
About that. But please, it'll only take a minute.
Of course he did, this
You
lovesick
need to know that
puppy.
Sarah means everything.
Sarah will never be safe if you're a part of her life.
Anna is
Please,
taking
let's
this
push give me
hard.
a chance.
To do what, Jordan? If you really love Sarah and you want to protect her,
She is also talking to him like he's a grown adult asking this question and not a lovesick 15-year-old.
you'll stay away.
Sorry for bothering you.
Like, he's only 15. There was a better, I mean, again, Lana is going through it right now. There was a better way to say that to
More
him.
like good. I haven't told him yet.
Why not?
I don't think they'd understand.
Manipulation,
What's not to
manipulation,
Look, you're on
manipulation.
the path to self-destruction.
She'll never believe you. She'll be a dog with a bone trying to prove you wrong because she always has to be right.
Your sister claims
She is
to
right.
be a champion of truth. Well, this is the truth.
God, she only pursued Lucy. She only made a connection with Lucy to get to Lois in the hopes that Lois would share her story. I'd never even thought of that before. Like, the reason she went out of her way to get through to this random girl at her book signing wasn't because she really cared. It was because you're Lois Lane's sister. I could use that if the most, like, one of the most respected reporters in the world broadcasts what I have to say. People will listen.
Why are you always choosing her over your family?
Because she cares about me.
We
She
care about you. We
doesn't.
love you.
Stop trying to make this better because you can't. After today, I am
It's too
done.
late
I
for
don't want
you.
anything to do with either of you.
They should have brought some video evidence of the parasite that is Ali Alston now.
I want to tell Sarah everything, but that's what's best for me, not her.
It's very
Sweetheart.
mature of you.
Doesn't make me feel any better.
I promise it'll make you forget about Sarah. At least for a little bit.
Yeah. Poor Jonathan not getting any fun day trips with Dad.
I cannot believe you got her.
Damn it.
I'm really sorry. I kept watching the video because I was really excited about
Sarah,
it.
you have done nothing wrong. He has done something wrong. Again and
She
again.
hasn't been this upset since.
I got this, okay?
God, they're still, I was thinking of the conversation he was having with his colleagues, referring to it as his male wife, giving them more money or whatever. And it's like, they're fucking separated because he cheated. If anything, she's going to restrict your budget. Obviously, she's not
Lucy,
going
do
to
you
do
really
that.
think that I don't love you? After Mom left, I felt like it was my job to make sure you grew
Because
up
your
okay.
dad
I
wasn't
was
there.
hard on-
Excuse you're going with.
I was a child raising a child.
Uh-huh.
Any better.
Lucy, your sister did the best she could.
It's his fault she had to.
The reason, like, I'm something you're shackled to, a constant.
You did join a death
dysfunction
cult.
in your-
I'm so sorry that I ever made you feel like you were a burden. Because the truth is, you were my life raft. I wouldn't have survived our childhood without you.
The fucking man who helped cause that sat here. This is definitely going to be, this whole conversation is a knife in his heart of how he fucked up. And again, the parent most to blame is the mother, wherever the frick she is. But he wasn't there for his kids. And again, he was going through a lot, but he withdrew from his kids. He made Lois feel like she needed to raise her sister and then cling to her sister for all she was worth, which made Lucy feel like she was drowning. Like, the parents fucked up here, and it makes me so sad that the girls are the ones suffering.
And I still need to prove how much I love you.
I think the way you've been trying to save her, even as she keeps slapping you in the face, has proven that.
You know the issues between you girls are because of me, right?
No, they're not, Dad. They're
They
because of Mom.
are,
Yeah,
because
you might not have been around, but you never abandoned this.
but he did. In a different way. I'm sorry, but he did. Not like the mother, and I would always hold him above their mother. Their mother is scum of the earth to me, unless she prevents me with some kind of reason, like if she saw her children again, they would die. Mother is scum of the earth. But he was not there. He picked his career over his children. And again, I don't hate him for that, like I do hate their mother, because he was trying to process his own grief at being you know, his wife leaving him. Like, I'm not criticizing him. He was a person that did not cope. But the reality is, he chose his career over his children. He could have pulled back. He could have accepted a lesser role. He could have left the army and got a different job, you know, being a respected general or whatever level he was at that time. There would have been other places that would have hired him that would have had more stable hours. They're quite wealthy. He probably could have even been part-time, for Christ's sake. Like, there was so much he could have done to make sure that he was in his daughters' lives and they did not feel the lack of their mother any more than they absolutely had to. And instead, he left them to deal with things themselves. It is his fault. And I hate the fact that Lois has had to own responsibility for mistakes she made as a child. Lois has had to sort of apologize and say, I made mistakes as a child, but they're like, oh no, Dad, you don't have to apologize for the mistakes you made. Lucy should be apologizing, he should be apologizing, and Lois' apology should have happened. Definitely, when I think of being whole, I definitely think of flying. See, there also, General Lane could have facilitated this conversation between his daughters years ago, and he never did. Jonathan should be here too. I mean, maybe it would be showing him that he couldn't do anything else, but...
Training.
Seriously? All right. What do we do
I still
first?
think they should be fucking more angry at General Lane for lying about that too.
You can do it.
Definitely other ways he could be doing this training.
Come on. Come on, Jordan!
There he goes.
Yes!
So sweet. He's gonna crash. Can he land?
He's not slowing down. Jordan? Dad? Jordan?
It was a good first step.
We found a different way.
Luce, don't listen to her. She's trying to turn you into a monster.
Look at her.
Like a monster to you.
Did you see what I just saw?
Yeah.
This is
But she's also not the Allie you loved.
what do we do next?
Fuck Lucy. Like, I'm sorry. Allie clearly is not either of the person she once loved.
And clearly superior to your own suit.
That'll be enough. Thank you. Suit's impressive.
Are you really that surprised? You know what I'm capable of.
You're still his
Please don't be the
baby.
person who tries to hold me back.
I'm your father.
Look, I get it. I really do.
You're
But
15.
we already lost one more.
Look, how about we start with you walking me through the upgrades on your suit, and then we go from there.
Okay.
You have to listen to everything he says.
Every move I make lately is the wrong one.
It's because your
I got
world's been
upset with
thrown
Sarah
off.
when I should have been celebrating her.
You're
I
off
yelled
kilter.
at Ken.
I'm sure it was for the right reasons.
Just try and unravel the root of why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and
Little family dinner. It's
you're
lasagna
not
night.
a family.
Kyle, that's not what worries me.
The message you're sending them, especially Sophie.
It's just a friendly dinner.
No, Sophie's like 8.
Parents who happen to be raising two phenomenal.
Like, co-parenting is a thing and it can work. But first off, she should be the one suggesting this because you are the one that cheated. She shouldn't have to spend any more time with you than she wants to. Maybe she's getting over that. Who knows? Second of all, Sophie is so young, it will send her mixed messages. It could send Sarah mixed messages too, but at least Sarah is old enough that she'll fully understand. Sophie is so little. She's going to be like, Mummy and Daddy are having dinner together. Maybe they're getting back together. And you're not. I mean, they probably will, but you're not right now.
Phenomenal.
Where is he?
What are you gonna do? Kill me? Like you did Anderson?
We didn't kill Anderson. Your son's other self did.
Is that true? She ordered him to do it.
There. He made that choice himself. He's the monster.
You manipulated.
Jesus.
The only manipulator here is you, Lois.
How far? I mean, I know Lucy has been brainwashed by Allie for years, but how fucking far into the hole do you have to be? Yeah, they were off having a super great flying time and he was doing the chores.
We practiced flying. While I was here.
Well, don't worry about the chores. I got the whole list done by myself. So.
Jonathan.
You've been neglecting him. Oh, he's not going to be able to do anything about it because this fucking ELT.
Enoch, please.
I have to do this. For me.
You're doing it for Ali, you stupid woman. Yeah, Ali doesn't hurt people, does she?
Stay here with your brother.
Talk to him yourself, Jordan, okay? Oh, God. Good job, Lucy.
I need to go.
Dad, we need to go.
No!
You know the suit will protect me.
I'm sorry, no. He better say no. We can train, we can work on it, we can talk about it. You're not coming right now with a just-built suit. Look at your choices, Lucy. 10 out of 10. You were so stupid letting Natalie come. Like, they haven't even fucking flight tested the suit before. This is the literal first time this suit has ever been used, and we're going into battle with Ali. I get that she's going to be useful, because of course she is. Just like if Jordan were here, I mean, if Jordan were here, he would currently be, you know, energy sucked. But, you know, Jordan is also useful. They're still 15.
Dad's breathing.
My response right now, where I Lois, would be Lucy, get the fuck away from our father, from my father, the one you didn't listen to. Look at the choices you have made, evaluate your life, and fuck off. Admittedly, that probably wouldn't be the best choice to make, but it would be the emotional response, because it's how I'm feeling, and I have to like dial it back and be like, Lucy is a brainwashed victim of a cult, who is a stupid fucking idiot by her own choices. Fucking hell.
Move back.
Look at you go, Natalie. I knew she'd ultimately save the day. I didn't think it would be this momentous.
Go max power.
And the symbolism of her saving the life of someone that is like the guy that killed her mum. Beating. Obviously, Natalie saved the day by being here. I still don't agree with her being here.
I would never force anyone to do anything against their will.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You manipulate. She said you've manipulated me into joining the cult. I never forced you to do that. No, you manipulated her into thinking she wanted to. That is what manipulation is. Manipulation isn't, I have a gun to your head, join my cult. Manipulation is, oh, you're really struggling. If you just joined my cult, everything would be better.
She gave me a look like I was.
I know Lucy is vulnerable, but
the whole Lucy. I feel like I've let her down.
It must be hard.
joining a cult does tend to
Especially
let your
if you're
family
someone
down.
loves you. I hope I've never made you feel that way.
No.
God, there's just manipulation through every single thing this woman says to Lucy.
Sometimes.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of your actions.
It's okay. It's all my fault.
We've all made mistakes.
Yours have been the biggest,
Through
Lucy.
thick and thin, we've always been a family.
Have we?
I don't deserve you.
You really don't. I mean, you don't deserve Lois. Like, again, so I'm trying so hard here because they've done a good job of showing just how Lucy was very vulnerable to Ali's manipulations and how, you know, Lois wasn't a perfect child raising her younger sister. He has a lot to answer for by being a shit dad. Their mother has the fucking world to answer for. You know, the literal only excuse will be if she actually has been dead in a ditch this entire time. But yes, Lucy was vulnerable to joining the cult, but the choices she made when it was like, hey Lucy, 1 + 1 is 2. Ali said 1 + 1 is 6, and I trust Ali. Like, is literally the state we reached, and she still chose Ali. And it's just very, very frustrating, the idea that they're going to be like, oh, it's all okay, Lucy. I mean, again, I may well be saying something extremely different if Lucy was somebody that I loved. Like, if Lucy was a member of my family. I have a cousin called Lucy. If it was her, perhaps I would be seeing things differently. Perhaps I would be having different emotions if I already loved the person I was talking about, instead of having been irritated by Lucy every single time she's been on screen. But if I was Lois, I think I would potentially give her a hug. I would say, I do love you. And then I would say, I cannot stand to look at you right now. You nearly, I mean, I know she doesn't know that Clark's Superman, but you nearly cost our father his life. You have let Ali take the power she needs to destroy the world. I do not want, I can't deal with you right now. Like, I hope you're going to be okay. I hope you find it through this. Now please leave my life. Never come near my sons again. You were not their aunt. You were not my sister, is where I'd be at. He never got to, I mean, I'm saying this, obviously he's going to be fine, but like, Jonathan really needed to speak to him right about now, didn't he? Jordan had a lovely last day with him before he got ill, and Jonathan could do with speaking to him. Should be under sun lamps, shouldn't he?
Actually, they were able to draw his blood.
His skin is impenetrable.
Not at the moment.
Fuck.
But now we can get some answers.
Surely it's not
we can help him
forever.
if we can find.
It's gotta be a place that you can perform, that you can legally
Mm-hmm.
enter.
We might have put some feelers out.
Sarah,
You should have done that first instead of the bar.
10%.
We need Superman.
Then until he comes back, we are all gonna have to step up.
He's 15. Like, yeah, this is a situation where I feel like he's gonna need to, but he's 15. Oh God. She's trying to do it now? I don't want to be merged, thank you very much. I'm quite happy being just me. And like I've said before, the other me does not need this mess to join her. If I never see Lucy Lane again, it will be too soon. I'm like, you know, I hope she finds a way through this. I hope for the best. I hope she has a long, fulfilling life, being happy and healthy. Nowhere near me and my eyes, because I know she was vulnerable. I know vulnerable people get sucked into cults, and you know, maybe with time she could be forgiven, sure. But like, it wasn't even like this was a difficult to interpret cult. It was a very obvious cult of evil murderousness. And even when Ali had descended from the heavens, floating. I mean, I don't think she pressed the ELT because she believed in Ali at that moment. I think she pressed the ELT because her dad was being murdered and she wanted to stop it. So I'm not angry at her for the fact that she pressed the ELT in the end, because I think that was done out of I want to protect my father from this crazy woman. It is literally the fact that her family have been trying, and I don't care what you want to say, because all of this anger she is throwing in Lois's face stems from things that began when Lois was a child too, and none of this anger gets placed on their father, who also wasn't there for them. Yes, obviously anger does get placed on the mother, as it should. If that woman ever shows up, she can immediately turn around and leave. Fuck her. Unless she accidentally died in a ditch and no one found the body and she never left. In which case, rest in peace. Like, their father should have done more to be there for them. It was his... When you have a child, when you choose to bring another being into the world, adopt them, when you get a child that is yours, your responsibility, they are your priority. And there will be times when maybe he'd have to leave them and go off and work or whatever, but you see within this show, Clark doesn't do it perfectly, neither does Lois, but you see how much they fight to try and make sure the boys know that they are a priority, that they matter, that they are there for them. And they don't always get it right. They aren't always able to do it, because the reality is you can't always get it right. The mess between Lois and Lucy, the fact that Lois ever thought she had to be the one raising Lucy, tells me they were raised by... that she was expected to babysit Lucy, and that there was no one at home, and that the dad was never around. And he's admitted as much, because he threw himself into work because he couldn't deal with the thought of having to raise his daughters by himself and having lost his wife. But it just makes me so angry to think that all these years, none of that anger has been placed onto him by either daughter, and instead it's been placed at each other. I still think everyone is acting like Lois. Lois is the only person that apologized in this episode. Admittedly, by the end, Lucy did, but you know, before all that, the minute he tried, they were like, "No, Dad, you were fine." He really wasn't. It can be something where, as an adult, you can look at it and you can think like, "Wow, you know, if my partner up and left me with a teenager with no word, no idea where they were, what would I do? How would I cope?" And you can understand as an adult, yeah, that is really hard to deal with. You know, I don't look at General Lane and think he's an evil person. I don't. I think the thing I'm so fucking furious about him is training Jordan without telling anyone, and making Jonathan feel small in the process. But in terms of his daughters, he was obviously messed up himself because of what he was going through. So I don't hate him for it, but I think when you have these negative feelings going around, it's unrealistic to me that none of those feelings would have ever even remotely been attached to their father. Even if, you know, it was a case of, well, yeah, Dad, I was angry with you for a while, but I understand now. Like, that would be fine, but it was kind of just like they had never even once been concerned. Because this man was not there for them. If Lois was raising her sister, this man was not around. And then for Lucy, I feel like Lucy, the result of what happened when her mum left was Lucy decided the world revolved around her. And maybe in a way, that is because Lois's world began to revolve around Lucy. And so therefore it kind of, again, Lois was a child, but maybe it was something to do with that. I don't know. Again, I don't think Lucy is evil. I just think she is incredibly stupid. And I don't mean that in an intelligence level. I mean that in just like a human being standard. She's at the bottom. Like, she basically proved every point Lois has ever had about her right in trying to prove Lois wrong. And at no point have we seen her actually tell Lois how she was feeling until now. When you become an adult, you could have that conversation with your sister. You should say to her, I feel like you're judging me and you don't love me. I feel like I'm a burden to you. I feel like I don't make you happy. I feel like whatever it is you want to say. Instead, she just kept those feelings inside, had other arguments with Lois, and then acted like Lois was destroying the world, when instead, Lois was just doing her fucking best too. And that best was never good enough for Lucy. Does Lois throw that in Lucy's face? No. Now, obviously, I will also give her a little bit of leeway in that Ali was a mastermind manipulator. We have seen that in every single interaction that they had. I think if Lucy's sister had not been Lois Lane, most likely Ali would not have paid her any more attention than anybody else at that book signing. If she had gone to that book signing looking for recruits, she would have paid her attention, and if she was just there to kind of put some feelers out, she might have considered, oh, that was a good mark for later in the day, but ultimately she pursued Lucy because she thought, if I can convince Lois Lane that I am telling the truth, then the world will know about my story and I will be able to have the fame and notoriety that I want for my mastermind plan. At the end of the day, the only reason she was picked is because she's Lois's sister. Now, yes, I'm sure Ali convinced herself what she was doing was right, but that doesn't mean you're not also manipulating people. And every single conversation she had, you know, Lucy is unloading to her about how she feels like her sister never loved her. Now, a normal person, a good person would say, what can you think, like, would say, I'm so sorry, that's so awful, I'm so sorry you're experiencing this, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Are you sure? Like, maybe we could, like, you know, I'm not to play devil's advocate, but is there a chance you're wrong? Is there a chance that there's another way to look at this? You would just basically, your priority would be on Lucy and how she was feeling and the burden she had just unleashed. And sure, if she ultimately came around to the conclusion of, I don't have my real family aren't great, then you might say, well, family's who you choose. But it's the way she immediately went, well, I've always loved you and I will prove it and I'm not going to be like that. Family is who you choose. It was so manipulative in every way, and it wasn't even subtle. And then Lucy basically decided Lois hated her and then never gave her a chance to prove otherwise. Lucy has done nothing but irritate me. And so then in that moment, when Ali comes descending from the sky and then says, oh, I didn't kill Anderson. No, her son's other version did. And instead of thinking, why would a 15-year-old casually murder someone? Especially if he's anything like either of the sons I know in this world. Maybe there is some truth to it, given that Ali is descending from the sky. I mean, if I look at my life and I think about what's missing from it, which in general is just encouraging a very unhealthy way of looking at yourself, the whole Ali rhetoric. But regardless, if I were to look at my life and to see the problems I have and the things I've been through and everything, and what would make me feel whole, the answer wouldn't be, I wish to fly and have glowing eyes, refer to myself in the third person, and speak with multiple voices. That really just wouldn't be what I was going for. So Lucy is fucking frustrating, and literally, please don't be in season 3 and 4. Just please, 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 please. Then the whole, like, Lana is struggling. I think on an ordinary day she wouldn't have been quite as harsh with Jordan as she was. She would have still said the same things. That's where her mind is at. That is the decision she has made with regards to Sarah, and she it's not Jordan's place to question it, but she also would have been more understanding that this is a lovesick teenager. He doesn't mean any harm by it. He just is in love with your daughter. And, ultimately what she said did get through to him. He was able to say, oh, well, it's what's best for me. It's not necessarily what's best for Sarah. And I feel like a kinder way of speaking to him would have got him to the same place. And the Lana we know would have taken that. But ever since her husband cheated on her, right, and she found out about it right when things were getting good for them, her entire life has gone off kilter. And that is such a difficult feeling to navigate. Not only has it gone off kilter, but she's also got this huge responsibility of being the mayor. And it's kind of like there's more on her plate than ever, and she's off balance. And then she found out her best friend and first love was Superman. Of course she's struggling, of course she's wobbling, of course she's not being able to spin all the plates perfectly because she's off kilter. The answer isn't go for a family dinner with Kyle and get back with him. My main gripe would be if they get back together isn't the idea that they could, like, I feel like potentially they could decide it was a one-time affair. I mean, it was a 6-month fucking one-time affair. It was a one-time affair. Things weren't great between them. Kyle has bettered himself since then. Their family matters most. They've got their daughters. They do love each other. I could understand it to a degree if she took him back as a, like, one more strike and that is fucking it type of deal. But I also think as things stand, I wouldn't love it because I feel like Kyle has just been wandering around acting like it was inevitably going to happen. She was going to take him back and he deserved her to take him back. And I don't love it personally. But it was nice to see the girls smiling and laughing and then both praising Sarah for her performance. The perfect divorce is one where you're able to stay friends. The reality of most situations are the reason behind divorce. I mean, that is unlikely to happen. But regardless, I hope they're able to keep this kind of co-parenting up. Lana needs to take some time and a breather to figure out what she's going on with, but she's the freaking mayor of a town now. She has 2 children to raise. She's just found that, like, she's lost 2 of her closest confidants, if not her 2 closest confidants. And then on top of that, all this job being there, raising the daughters, and then the world might end and an evil doppelganger might be coming for her any moment. There's a lot for her to be dealing with right now, and it is not exactly the easiest situation for her to stop, sit down, and look at herself. Then we have the family. Now, the idea of Clark spending time with his sons and bonding, 10 out of 10. It absolutely shattered my heart that half of his time talking with Jonathan, they were talking about Jordan. None of his time talking with Jordan was spent talking about Jonathan. Both brothers are aware of what the other brother is going through. Both brothers might be able to help their father understand. It might help Clark figure out how to help them or what their brother's going through. And only Jonathan was the one asked. Now again, I liked what Clark had to say to Jonathan. I liked the fact that he said, you aren't your mistakes, but you've proven who you are by how you're dealing with them. And, I wasn't angry at you. I was kind of just angry. And as a parent, you want to protect your kids from everything. And then you learn you can't. It was a very real, honest conversation that I think was really going somewhere. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna hug. Like, Jonathan just needs a hug from his dad. Like, I just need this time. And then Clark was like, I'm going to go and see your brother. See you, other child. And it really bothered me. And again, Clark and Lois are not perfect. They try their best. They are as close to perfect as parents can be, I suppose, in a lot of ways. They are not perfect. Now, yeah, taking him on a flying lesson, excellent way to get his mind off his breakup. Also very useful given that he can fly, and if he can't do it safely, it's not going to be good for anybody. But they were away for hours without telling anyone, abandoning Jonathan. Now, yeah, there is the truth that if you brought Jonathan with you, would that be a slap in the face of you can't do this? But is there a way Clark could have, like, held Jonathan and let him fly too? I don't know. I feel like at least discussing it with him, letting him know. Because as things stand, I feel like neither Clark nor Lois has come the closest, have really had a conversation with Jonathan about it being okay that he doesn't have powers and them loving him as much and him being just as special as his brother. I mean, if anything, his family just kind of never mentions it and then they praise Jordan for how special he is. And Jonathan doesn't have that. And when Jonathan earlier said, well, everyone hates me at school. I'm never playing sport again because he's got a doping thing on his record. Like, my future is not what I thought it was going to be. My life is going, no, again, freaking hell, I'm twice your age, sweetheart, and I don't have a doping thing on my record, but I still don't know where my life's going. But it's a very natural human place to be, and his life will be fine. He will get through it. It's hard to believe that when you're 15 and you're going through what he's going through. To then turn around and just ditch him for the day and spend it with Jordan flying is hard, and it is harsh. I'm so mad at the writers. Not in a like a you're bad, just in a way that I'm mad at them, because this was the moment we might finally have had that conversation between Jonathan and Clark, where Jonathan would finally have talked about how it made him feel to always be the lesser brother and the left out brother, in a way that Jordan never was before when he was the sporty one. They were always there for Jordan too. Like, for all that they to finally talk about that, and for Clark to finally say how much he loves him and how, unfortunately, I do need to spend that time with Jordan training him, but there's no reason why we can't also spend time together. Whatever conversation they were going to have would have been so needed, and now Clark's dying. Now, the Natalie thing, I don't blame him for being angry at her, though I do think the kind of lashing out anger wasn't helping anybody. Not that he really lashed out, but just kind of no, my foot is down, no. Similarly to Jordan, I think the idea of Natalie using the suit and flying around with him and helping isn't absurd. She obviously was very helpful in this case. But had Allie stuck around, Natalie would possibly be dead. Her suit is untested, for one thing. She's untrained in flying and combat and everything to do with that. She's helped her dad make the suit. With some training, perhaps she would be able to be used. And in a situation like the one we're in now, where we kind of have to use Jordan, you might be like, yeah, we'll use you, Natalie. But taking her out there and then was so fucking dangerous. Yes, it helped save Clark's life, so now it's going to be like, see, it was right to bring her out. But at the end of the day, they are fucking lucky she's alive and uninjured right now. But that moment when Clark was dying and he was reaching towards Lois and saying her name, and then, his heartbeat being flat and everything, absolutely chilling. And then, earlier in the season, we had Natalie saying, well, it's really hard to even be in the same house with you because you look like the man that killed my mother. And here she is, reviving this man, bringing him back from the dead. A man who looks just like the man that destroyed her world, literally and figuratively. Very huge, very emotional, shows you just who Natalie is, because she did not hesitate. Her only hesitations were, is it working? They were not. And like, what do I do? Her hesitations were not, it's that guy, maybe he should die. Which I think shows you that she will get past, not to get past her mother's death, but with Clark, she will be able to see him for who he is and not for that incident from their past. I have probably missed a lot of things that are important to talk about because I feel like I have, and I feel like the second I stop recording, I'm going to be like, damn it, I didn't talk about Sarah learning to fly. I can't think of any of those things right now. I'm just very stressed about the ending. Is Ali going to merge the world? Because then surely everyone's going to be merged, and that's going to kind of suck. Can we unmerge them if it does happen? Very good episode. Lucy can fuck off. Thank you so much for watching.